Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome live here to Brandon's World. You are listening live here on YouTube. And of course, today we are going to be talking about the Browns win. We're going to be talking about Baker Mayfield. We're talking about the Indians and the Red Sox game. We're talking about week 3. We're going to be talking about Urban Meyer. We're going to be talking about wrestling. We're going to be talking about Kent State football. We're talking a lot of things. But of course, we need to start off today with a huge announcement. And that announcement is this. Ladies and gentlemen, the official schedule of the show is now out and it's happening. Brandon's World will now be live every Monday from 11 to 1 here on YouTube. That is still continuing. However, now every Wednesday from 10 to noon, along with being streamed live on YouTube, we will also be live on Black Squirrel Radio.com. Yes, we will be live from 10 to noon every Wednesday, blacksquirrelradio.com. You guys can call in. You can talk to me. It's going to be a different type of a show. Don't know if I'm going to have it on YouTube or not. Probably not. Probably just going to have this show on YouTube every Monday and then BSR on Wednesdays from 10 to noon. Keep that in mind as we go forward. I'm very excited about the opportunity to host an on-air show for the first time. I already have plans on doing some segments every Wednesday, including some fantasy segments. Of course, when the Indians begin their playoff run, we'll be going over more baseball-related news. But, yeah, here we are, man. Here we are. This show is making its rounds. I hope you subscribe to the channel below, and I hope you follow the Twitter page that's in the description, and I hope you go to blacksquirrelradio.com, because not only can you read my articles on there, not only can you read my review of the Browns game, not only can you read my NFL picks against the spread, but we're going to be talking about those things live on air this Wednesday, September 26th. Big day. Big day in my career. September 26th. It's going to be great. And I just noticed, by the way, that in the description I put 17. It should be 18. So let me fix that really quick here. Yeah, I accidentally made the date 9/24/17. Of course, it is 9/24/18. You know, that's what happens when you slip up and type the 8 instead of or type the 7 instead of the 8 on the keyboard. I will work on that after the show. I will change it. I apologize for any inconvenience. But yes, so they completely changed this around. But yeah, so big day in my career. On Wednesday, we're doing a lot of things. And yeah, I can't wait to do so. So I hope you guys follow me along on the journey. And hey, here we go. Again, big moment in my career. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff on Wednesday, but I just want to make that announcement that, again, every Wednesday from 10 to noon will be on BSR. Every Monday on this show, 11 to 1, right here on YouTube. Just to let you guys know. So, with those announcements being made and out of the way, we are now going to talk about Cleveland Browns football. I know. Of course, you guys probably saw over the weekend also that my Ball Boy 11 account, I had that deleted. So you guys did not see any Hugh Jackson rants. You didn't see anything of that nature. But yes, Baker Mayfield. If you saw my tweet, I don't even know if I tweeted that out. I know I Instagram posted. If you follow me on social media, you will notice that I said Baker Mayfield just saved Hugh Jackson's job. And I mean that. Cold-heartedly, I mean that. I mean, in the first half, Tyrod Taylor. How do I put this nicely, Tyrod? I would have taken Nathan Peterman over you. And I'm serious about that, okay? I don't want a quarterback that can only run. And Tyrod Taylor cannot throw the football down the field. It annoys me so much. Oh, but what about that throw to Callaway? Did you not see Callaway run up and catch it? It would have been an incomplete pass. It would have been game over. We would have been second guessing Todd Haley. Y'all would have wanted Baker to start in week 3. I wanted Baker to start week 1 because I thought in the preseason Baker looked better than Tyrod Taylor. Statistically, it's probably fair, probably a toss-up. But I test. I was at the Browns-Eagles preseason game, week number 3 of the preseason. My good friend Andrew Backer, who's been on this show already twice, I sat right next to him. And I told him at that game, I said, man, look at Tyrod's throws. They're weak. He can't throw a ball more than 10 yards. And guess who was right? Me. I don't look at statistics as much when I'm evaluating talent. Sure, the statistics will back it up sometimes if I think a talent will be doing good. But you got to look at the eye test. You got to look with your own 2 eyes. You got to study the film. And Hugh Jackson, I don't know why. I don't know why you started Tyrod Taylor in the first place. Again, when I heard about the Tyrod Taylor trade, I said that Tyrod Taylor was a championship-winning quarterback. I'm not denying that. I looked at his stats. I looked at what he did with no receivers in Buffalo, and I said, man, this kid with the right amount of weapons, with Josh Gordon, with Jarvis Landry, with Corey Coleman at the time, obviously, with Antonio Callaway, this guy can spread the ball around and we can move the ball. Guess what? Defenses studied Tyrod Taylor's tape. And if you actually went back and watched the tape, because that was off me just evaluating, I didn't watch the tape. If you went back and watched the tape like I did after the Pittsburgh game, I went back, I didn't even watch the tape of the Pittsburgh game. I went back and watched the tape of his tape in Buffalo. It's the same exact thing. Run, play action, there was guys wide open down the field, he would miss them. Or he just hit the little 5-yard dump ball pass, and that's why he was so good, because he would never turn the ball over. Now, without Josh Gordon, you have Jarvis Landry at the X, you have Higgins at the Z, maybe at the Y, and you have Antonio Callaway, who reminds me a lot of Deshaun Jackson when he was with the Eagles. He really does. The way he separates off the ball and his speed reminds me a lot of Deshaun Jackson. To me, and it's just unbelievable, the way that Baker Mayfield came in there after Tyrod Taylor couldn't even throw the ball 10 freaking yards. Baker Mayfield comes in there, offense gets picked up, and Njoku starts making plays. Hell, Jarvis Landry starts making plays, and I think Jarvis Landry is one of the most overrated wide receivers in football. He makes a lot of catches, but he doesn't get a lot of yards. He is not an X receiver. He is a Y receiver. He is a in-the-slot receiver. Higgins could be a nice Z receiver on the outside. But the thing the Browns need to do in free agency, or the thing the Browns need to do in a trade or draft or develop some other wide receiver that's a big-time playmaker, like Allen Robinson when he went to Chicago for Mitch Trubisky, Alshon Jeffrey when he went to Philadelphia for Carson Wentz. You know, what Josh Gordon could be in New England, what Julian Edelman already is pretty much in New England. You need a guy that can go up and get the freaking football. It's not mathematics. It's not science. It's just common freaking sense. I'm sorry, but Jarvis Landry cannot play the X position in the NFL against great corners. When you line him up against a corner like Xavier Rhodes or somebody like that, he's going to get dominated. The Browns have not faced a good corner in the NFL yet. Their first test will be Jimmy Smith against the Ravens, maybe, and then Casey Hayward definitely in Week 6 when the Chargers come to town. Besides that, though, Pittsburgh doesn't have great corners. The Saints, Marshawn Lattimore, but he wasn't really on Landry a lot, and when he did, it was Tyrod Taylor throwing him the ball. And then, the Jets, they don't have great corners. They have two great safeties. I love that kid from LSU, Jamal Adams, the guy who I said before the draft I would have drafted over Myles Garrett. Yes, I'm wrong on that. I know, Andrew. Myles Garrett is a lot better. I know you're so high on Myles Garrett. I know I was wrong. I said I'll say it every week. I'll say it again. I was wrong. Myles Garrett should have been the number 1 overall pick. But I'm not denying this. Jamal Adams is a really good football player. But the fact of the matter is, Baker Mayfield makes these guys relevant. Hell, me and Andrew also made a trade in fantasy, believe it or not. I traded him Jarvis Landry and Sean McCoy. He gave me David Njoku and Cooper Kupp. I started Cooper Kupp. Thanks, buddy, for that win. Because I didn't trust Jarvis Landry. I was 0-2 at the time. He was 1-1. I desperately needed a win, and I got it. And I'm glad I made the trade because Cooper Kupp, in my opinion, is going to have long-term bigger production than Jarvis Landry. In my opinion, you got the Browns. They need an ex-wide receiver. They need to go out and get somebody. And if they do that, they may be primed here to make a little bit of a playoff run. The problem is that they have a coach like Hugh Jackson. I've been saying it all along that, Baker Mayfield made Hugh Jackson Thursday night. Baker Mayfield saved Hugh Jackson's job. There is no doubt about it. You cannot deny it. Baker Mayfield saved Hugh Jackson's job. The Browns were getting blown out in the first half. I'll say that again. The Browns were getting blown out in the first half Thursday night. They were down 14-0 before Baker Mayfield came in. The offense was going nowhere. The play calling was terrible. The defense was getting run over. And when Baker Mayfield came in, Baker Mayfield gave them a spark. Baker Mayfield lifted everybody up, gave Jarvis Landry relevance, gave Njoku relevance, gave Callaway relevance, gave Higgins a little bit of relevance. That throw to Landry by Baker that was down to the 1-yard line, that was a perfect throw. You couldn't throw it any better than what Baker Mayfield threw it on that play. Carlos, I ran motivated. I'm really proud of Hyde for that game. It was an incredible performance. He struggled with Tyrod in there, but man, when Baker was in there, he ran hard. He just came from the hospital where his wife was in labor. He struggled the first 2 games of the year, but man, he's showing he wants to be here. He's showing that he wants to be a Cleveland Brown. And how about that play from Denzel Ward? How about that play? The strip ball that changed the game. Denzel Ward hurt my feelings, as Gus Johnson would say. That was the play of the game. And I don't like it necessarily. I'll be honest with you. Yes, it was a great play, but if he doesn't get the strip there, the receiver is still running probably. Now, I get there was another defender right there, but, I don't necessarily like going for strips as a coach. I'd rather have you tackle. Obviously, that's a risk reward that paid off. Love it, changed the game around. But it's tough because you need the tackle. If let's say Denzel Ward misses the strip, let's say he breaks that off for a touchdown, then you guys are saying, well, why did he go for the strip? Well, why didn't he just make the tackle? And that's my point. Can't have it both ways. But I thought overall, the Browns defense Their run defense, first half was terrible. D. Second half, A. Offense, first half, F. Second half, A. The difference between the first and second half. Who was starting under center? Tyrod Taylor. 2-minute warning. Baker Mayfield comes in, gets him a field goal. Changes the entire momentum. Jets went down. They got a field goal 17-3. And then the strip happened, and that changed the entire game. I thought Baker really fought hard. I thought the 2-point conversion, the first call, was the dumbest call I've ever seen, and then they stole Philly special. That changed the game around too, because obviously it was going to be 17-12. Now it's 17-14. Now it's a 3-point game. I thought Baker just looked incredible. I'll say it over and over again. And, I was thinking about it because people are like defending Hugh Jackson about the way he handled the press conference, saying he had to say that about Tyrod. Obviously it felt like a prepared statement to me. And I thought, this is the way I would have handled it personally if I was a coach. I would have went up there. I would have said, obviously after the performance tonight, you guys know it. Baker is going to start going forward. I know Tyrod hasn't cleared concussion protocol, but we talked about this going down the line, that if Tyrod did struggle, Baker would come in, and if he lit a spark like he did tonight, then Baker, will start, and Tyrod will handle this like a professional, like he always does. We talked about it. Tyrod wants the best for Baker, and Tyrod's okay with sitting watching Baker. That's what I would have said. You can handle it in a way, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a coach, but you can handle it in a way better than, well, I got to watch the tape. That's not my mindset as a coach. I'm not going to try and trick you. Sometimes you need to be called out by the media, and I'm not calling out Tyrod. I'm really giving praise to him, how great of a teammate he is. And then, we'll talk behind closed doors too, once he recovers, why I made that decision and stuff like that. And, I'll also give him a call and text, after it was announced through the media when I said it, because I don't like lying to the media. I know it sounds strange. I don't want to give the media answers. Hell, if I was a coach, find me. I'm not talking to the media. I'm either completely doing that, or if they ask me, is Baker a starter, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to Baker, unless I go to him and tell him, yeah, I'm going to lie. If I tell Baker before the press conference, yeah, I'm going to lie and say I'm going to watch the tape, then that's okay. We don't know if he did that or not. And that's my problem with it. But overall, man, the Browns looked good. They found a way to dig it out. It was unbelievable. They now have a better record than the Patriots. They're 1-1-1, and they go to Oakland next Sunday for a 4-25 game against the Oakland Raiders. They face John Gruden and the 0-3 Raiders. Raiders are going to be looking for a win. I know they're in turmoil, but Gruden's played a great first half, and we'll see which coach can adjust better. Both of them are terrible coaches. Look, I've been on the Gruden bandwagon all year, but the fact is John Gruden's clock management is worse than Hugh Jackson and Andy Reid's. This guy's had leads in every game in the first half, and they haven't been able to close it. And the way I see it is, it's going to come down to whichever team either forces a turnover or doesn't turn the ball over. And the team that does that is going to win this game. The Browns are going to the West Coast. Obviously, you guys know I am concerned about the about going to the West Coast as an East Coast team, because I do believe in that time difference thing. But besides that, yeah, man, we all good. So we're going to wrap up here on the Browns. We are going to talk more about the Browns a little bit later. But now we are going to head to the weekend, where I watched most of this series, probably more than I should, because it had a playoff feel to it, but it wasn't really a playoff feel because of the fact that most teams were not using their entire starters. They weren't playing the whole game. There was a lot of September baseball in there with the lineup changes. But yes, the Indians and Red Sox played this weekend. Indians took 2 out of 3, walking off both. All 3 were very high scoring games. Red Sox won the first one 7-5. Indians won the second one 5-4, and the Indians won last night's game 4-3. So all pretty much good high scoring games. Chris Sale won for Boston in the opener. I do know that. I know Bauer won for the Indians in the opener. And to be honest, I don't know who went for the other 2. I know that Puerco won for the Indians last night. Saturday night, I actually don't know who pitched. I didn't even watch the game on Saturday. Sunday, I did watch, the Indians and Red Sox. They both look really good, but I'm going to talk about this in terms of postseason perspective, right? The Indians have a all-star every single position in their batting order. Catcher Yan Gomes, first base Yonder Alonso, DH Edwin Encarnacion, second baseman Jose Ramirez, shortstop Francisco Lindor, third base Josh Donaldson, left field Michael Brantley, center field Jason Kipnis, right fielder Melky Cabrera. On the bench then, because that's 9 players, you're probably going to have 5 outfielders. So let's say you have Rajay Davis, who may or may not be in there, along with Geyer, who may or may not be in there. One of those 2 be in there. They both have playoff experience. Greg Allen, who does not have playoff experience, he's basically the same player as Rajay. He can steal bases. So that's, 5 outfielders right there. You have Eric Gonzalez as your utility man. He has playoff experience. And then you have Roberto Perez, who's obviously one of the most clutch catchers of all time in the playoffs. First man in MLB history to hit 2 home runs, the 9th man in the order in the World Series. I believe that's also for the postseason as well. Very, very, very good sign to see. Very encouraging for the Indians. They have a lot of depth. Bullpen, even if you put Bauer in the pen, you'll still have Kluber, Carrasco, and Clevenger available for the ALDS. Bauer, Bieber, Miller, Simber, Allen, Hand, Otero, Neil Ramirez. Let's go down the list. So, we have 9 hitters in the lineup. I mentioned to you the 2 outfielders, that's 11. Eric Gonzalez, which is 12. And then Roberto Perez, which is 13. So you have 12 pitchers to work with then. Well, Kluber, Carrasco, Clevenger, that's 3. Then you have, let's see, you have Bauer and Bieber, that's 5. So you have 7 relievers you can work with. Miller, Simber, Hand, Allen are the 4. Okay. Then you'll probably go Otero, which is 5, OP, which is 6, Neil Ramirez, which is 7. Boom. That's your postseason roster. I just mathematically figured that out in about 1 minute. And clearly the Indians have a lot of depth. Every single guy in that lineup, I feel comfortable with throwing out there in a postseason situation. I really do. I know they've struggled all year, but I have so much trust in this Indians team. They are built, ladies and gentlemen, to win in the postseason. They really are. They have good hitting. They have power. They have timely hitting. They can steal bases. They're going to lead the league in bases for the first time ever. They take their walks. They have great starting pitching. They can keep them in ball games, and they can turn it over to weapons out of the bullpen, and they can match up very well. You're going to have 3 lefties coming out of that bullpen with Miller, Hand, and Oliver Perez. 3 left-handers in one bullpen, that's something special. Add it to a guy like Trevor Bauer who can eat up those middle innings, and Shane Bieber, who when Bauer can take a night off, can eat up some of those middle innings. A guy like Cody Allen who has nerves of steel. Adam Simber with that quirky wind-up delivery. And then Neil Ramirez and Dan Otero, who are 2 right-handers, that can get the job done in the middle innings if Bauer and, Bieber don't have a good night or whatever. The Indians have so many options, is what I'm trying to say, pitching wise and hitting wise. If you go up against a left-hander, you're still going to have Lindor, who's a switch hitter. You're still going to have Ramirez, who's a switch hitter. You're going to have Edwin Encarnacion, who is a right-hand stick. You're going to have, obviously, the two lefties. Well, the one lefty we know for sure will be Yonder. The two lefties we know for sure, will be Yonder Alonso and Michael Brantley. You could have another lefty in there and Jason Kipnis, but if he's on the roster, I would say you would start Greg Allen, and you also have another switcher to Melky Cabrera. So there's what? You get three switchers there. You have Gomes and Edwin, who's a right-hander, so that's 5 hitters. And as you guys can see, I'm trying to think about all the combinations you can have. Terry Francona, who I compare to the Bill Belichick of baseball because he's so innovative with what he does, and you'll see guys come in and then you'll never see him again. Tito has postseason experience, man. Tito has great postseason managing. Until 2016, he was 8-0 in the World Series. He's 11-4 in the World Series when he's gotten there. His postseason record with the Indians isn't great, though. Let's go for it real quick. 0-1 against Tampa Bay. Against Boston, he swept them, so he's at 3-1. Against Toronto, they ended it in 5. So that's 4, which is 7-1. So that's 7-2. And then obviously they went 3, which is 10-4. So that's 10-6. And then with the Yankees, so he's 12-9 in the postseason with the Indians. We just calculated that real quick here. 12-9 in the postseason with the Indians. Let's see what the Indians are at home in those series. They've lost to Tampa, so they're 0-1. They beat Boston twice, so they're 2-1. They against Toronto, they beat them twice, so they're 4-1. Against the Cubs, they won 1. They lost 3 at home, so they're 5-4. And then against the Yankees, they won 1, lost 2. So we're 6-6 at home in the postseason under Terry Francona. Not great success recently, which means we're also 6-3 on the road. That shows that the Indians travel well, and as I mentioned, they're built for the bullpen better than Houston. They're built better than Oakland, especially, and Boston. To me, the Indians' biggest threat is the New York Yankees. I've been saying this all along. However, Didi Gregorius just went down. That's a big loss for the Yankees. So, if he's not healthy, that's a big bat they lose, but they can make up for it with their great pitching and their bullpen. Their starting pitching isn't great, though. All these teams have a hole somewhere. With Boston and the A's and, Houston, it's bullpen. Great starting pitching. With the Yankees, it's bad starting pitching. Great bullpen, great power. With the Indians, it's, if you want to call the bullpen the weakness, they've been there, done that. They've just struggled in the year. They know they have the arms. It's not like Boston and Oakland that doesn't know they have the arms. The Indians have the hitting, the pitching, the stealing. They have everything to go win a World Series. And this is the window. This is the time to do it. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll be back at 11:35, and we're going to be talking about NFL scores and notes. We're going to be talking about the Clay Mathews hit that was called roughing the passer, and we're talking about Jimmy G out for the year for the San Francisco 49ers. I'll see you guys at 11:35. Alright guys, welcome back into Brandon's World. Now in this segment number 2, we are going to begin by talking about... Hold on, let me fix the camera here. Okay, here we go. We are going to begin, of course, by talking about the NFL. Because a lot of things happened in the NFL yesterday, of course. Let's start off with the Jimmy Garoppolo injury. Devastating news to the San Francisco 49ers. The star quarterback, San Francisco Fears, has tore his ACL. Unfortunately, and that's bad news because the Niners are going to be really bad. But the good news is that if they don't trade for a quarterback, they'll have CJ Beathard, which means they'll have a high draft pick. And they could use it to get Nick Bosa or somebody or a defensive, secondary man. Somebody for the Niners they desperately need to help improve their team when Jimmy G gets back. Hell, they could use it on a wide receiver because they certainly do need one. They also need a running back. I know they have Jared McKinnon. I know they have a bunch of backs, but I would use one on a running back potentially, or a wide receiver, an offensive lineman, a safety, defensive lineman. They can go anywhere really in San Francisco with what they're going to use that pick on, that high pick, which is what I would do. I wouldn't trade for Nick Foles or Tyrod Taylor. I would stay with CJ Beathard. I would be really bad, and I would go for the high pick. That's just me. Evan Ingram sprained his MCL, so he's going to be out of order with the Giants. Ricardo Allen, the other safety for the Falcons. Now, both Falcons starting safeties are out for the year, along with Deion Jones. They don't have a defense. I mean, Drew Brees carved them up completely like he always does against the Falcons, but they are really banged up. And Atlanta may not be looking too hot this year with all those injuries. They're still a good team, don't get me wrong, but I think, they don't have a lot of good depth. And that's costing them right now. The Clay Mathews hit to me was ridiculous. Clay Mathews ends up tackling Alex Smith. Perfect form body tackle. And I don't get this. I mean, you cannot move out of the way of a defender at all. He's not putting his body weight on him. He's tackling him with the shoulder. He's not driving him to the ground. The rule is crazy. I mean, every in on a quarterback then should be roughing the passer. You shouldn't even be allowed to do dink to the quarterback because if you do, apparently it's roughing the passer. I get it if you're diving towards his legs. I get the below the knees flag. I don't get the perfect form in the chest hit. What if I push him? Is that considered force? I mean, seriously. I feel bad for Clay Mathews because he's been called on this all 3 weeks. And the rule's stupid. He knows it. He said the league's going soft. I agree with him. They need to change this rule. They just absolutely need to change this rule. This is worse than the original helmet rule. This is worse than the catch rule. This is just absolutely terrible. Cost Green Bay the game against Minnesota. It didn't cost them this game against the Redskins, but it should have been. Should have cost them. And man, it's just tough. It's just tough the way I look at it. And it's horrible. It should not exist. There's no way a defender can stop himself tackling a quarterback. They just expect him to stop himself, and I don't get it at all. I just don't understand it. And as a result, I mean, again, I don't understand it. Like, again, how are you supposed to tackle somebody? How are you supposed to tackle somebody? It doesn't make any sense at all. And that's that. So now we're going to look at the NFL scores from yesterday. Let's see. We have the Bills defeating the Vikings in a shocker, 27-6. What a game that was, man. Josh Allen looked really good. Vikings thought they had a bye week. That was not the case. And Josh Allen just lit him up, man. Josh Allen looked really good. I'm proud of my guy, Josh Allen. The Giants beat the Texans 27-22. I don't know what's going on with Houston, man. That offensive line is so bad. They've, quit on Deshaun Watson, who's trying to do everything he can to help them win. Houston's now 0-3. Giants 1-2. They're not a very good team. but they got the win against a team that just seems like it doesn't care. Redskins beat the Packers. The Packers seemingly always struggle in DC nowadays, it seems like. And I know it was in the rain, but Aaron Rodgers didn't look good. I know he has a bad knee, but he didn't look good. And Green Bay does not look good to start the year either. Chiefs just dominated the 49ers. Again, we said Jimmy G went down. I know the score looks closer than it appeared, but Patrick Mahomes looks so good. Kansas City improves to 3-0. San Francisco drops to 1-2. Miami improves to 3-0. Oakland downgrades to 0-3. Ryan Tannehill looks really good. The Raiders cannot hold on to a lead again. Dolphins win at 28-20. My Eagles ended up defeating the Indianapolis Colts 20-16, and Carson Wentz's return. Carson Wentz looked really good, man. There is no hesitation. Wentz looks really good. Can't wait to see him with all our weapons back. Sproles, Ajayi, Jeffrey, and possibly a Jeremy Maclin down the line. My Eagles look really good, and I'm really happy. But I am impressed by the Colts. Their defense is well coached. Frank Wright has Andrew Luck well coached. That team looks ready to go. They will be improved, and they will be playoff bound in the next couple of years. The team that my Eagles face next week, the Tennessee Titans, beat the Jaguars 9-6 in a sloppy defensive affair. Blaine Gabbert went out of that game with a concussion. Marcus Mariota came in, did not look great. Tennessee's defense looked great against a team that has no wide receivers, which neither do the Eagles until Jeffrey comes back. But if Jeffrey plays against Tennessee, it'll be interesting to see how they play. Mike Vrabel, to me, is the wild card now in the new head coaching circus. Cannot get a read on his team. I don't know if they look good or bad. I'll be honest, from watching 3 Titans games this year. They beat the Texans at home. They lost to Miami on the road in that pouring rain game. And then they beat Jacksonville on the road. So who knows with them. Carolina beat Cincinnati 31-21. Cam Newton looked really well in that one. Baltimore beat Denver 27-14. Joe Flacco looks like he's keeping Lamar Jackson on the bench. As I said, what a wild game between the Saints and Falcons. No team led by more than a touchdown in this one. Saints win in overtime on a Drew Brees QB sneak. His second rushing touchdown of the game. He had 5 overall touchdowns. Matt Ryan throws for over 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley with over a buck receiving, and 3 touchdowns in the game. Big breakout game for the rookie. Saints win at 43-37. Rams ended up winning at 35-23, man. The Rams look scary good. Jared Goff and Todd Gurley and that defense looking. However, Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib, they went down. We'll keep an eye on their injuries as they go into a huge Thursday night matchup against the Vikings. So you know we'll be angry coming off that loss to the Bills. Josh Rosen made his debut in the final 4 minutes as the Cardinals lose to the Bears 16-14. Rosen threw a game-clinching interception for the Bears, and he did not look good, and neither did the Cardinals. Cardinals look very bad this year. You know who else looks very bad this year? It's the Dallas Cowboys. They lose to Seattle 24-13. They just didn't look ready to play. Seattle did. And last night, the Patriots, with only 3 wide receivers active, they lose to the Lions 26-10. Matt Patricia knew the Patriots well, obviously, so we'll see how he does coaching against a team he doesn't know well. And then Wednesday on BSR, we will preview all of the games coming up for next Sunday, which should be a good one. Actually, the Browns-Raiders game, I was mistaken. I said it started at 4:05. It actually starts at I said it starts at 4:25. It actually starts at 4:05. My apologies. All right, so let's move on to Urban Meyer and in Ohio State. And in Urban Meyer's return, they dominated Tulane. I mean, it wasn't even a contest. Ohio State ended up winning it by a final 49-6. Just absolutely dominating. Urban, obviously, motivated, but this will be a big game. This will be a big game for college football here next week. Ohio State's going to take on Penn State, and let's see. Penn State ends up defeating Illinois 63-24. They're the number 9 ranked, so this will be a good game on ABC next Saturday night. And on ranked game, Temple beat Tulsa. 13 UCF defeated FL Atlantic 56-36. 8 Notre Dame defeated Wake Forest 56-27. Number 2, Georgia defeated Missouri 43-29. Michigan dominated Nebraska 56-10. Impressive win for Jim Harbaugh's bunch. Alabama defeats unranked Texas A&M. That's weird to see, as Alabama wins at 45-23. West Virginia down Kansas State 35-6. Clemson down Georgia Tech 49-21. Miami, Florida defeated FIU 31-17. Duke defeats NC Central in a non-ranked game for both teams. Duke wins 55-13. Texas defeats TCU 31-16. BYU defeats McNeese State 30-3. Texas Tech defeats Oklahoma State 41-17. LSU, number 5 ranked, defeats LA Tech 38-21. And from the looks of things, the scariest game for a top 10 team of the week, Oklahoma only wins by 7. In overtime, they defeat Army 28-21. Big scare for Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma. I'll talk about how I feel about the rankings in a second. Kentucky defeats MS State 26-7. Kentucky was ranked 17th. MS State was ranked 23. Alabama defeats Arkansas 34-3. Michigan State defeats Indiana 35-21. Stanford, number 7, defeats number 19 Oregon in overtime 38-31. Big game on Saturday Night Football last week on ABC. Stanford pulls out the win. They got some good players there over at Stanford. Wisconsin defeats Iowa 28-17. Number 11 Washington defeats Arizona State 27-20. And San Diego State defeats Eastern Michigan, and Hawaii defeats Duke Concene. Some big games in week 5 of 15 weeks in the college football season. I'm going to point them out to you on Saturday on games that I think you should watch. Let's see. Number 3, Clemson takes on Syracuse at noon. Number 1, Alabama takes on Lafayette at noon. Let's see what else we got. Noon games. That was it for the noon games. Kent State, my alma mater, goes to Ball State at 3 o'clock. That's a game you can watch if you're interested. Woody Barrett looks pretty good for Kent State. Number 2, Georgia is taking on Clemson. So the SEC is the top 3 teams, essentially. Alabama, Clemson, and Georgia. I'll get to that in a second. They play at 3:30. Let's see. Who else plays at 3:30? Number 6, Oklahoma plays at 3:30. They take on Baylor. Should be an easy win for Oklahoma. And then let's see. That's pretty much it for the 3:30 games. And then in the nightcap, we already know. Ooh, okay, here's a good game. They're both good games here. Number 4, Ohio State takes on number 9, Penn State. And number 7, Stanford takes on number 8, Notre Dame. Could you imagine if Penn State knocks off Ohio State? How much shaking up that'll be for Stanford and Notre Dame? See, I think for Stanford and Notre Dame, if Stanford wins, it doesn't hurt Notre Dame. And I think if Notre Dame wins, it doesn't hurt Stanford. They're ranked pretty much the same rank the way I look at it. LSU is taking on Mississippi. They're at number 5. So the SEC has 4 of the top 5 teams besides Ohio State. And then number 6 is Oklahoma. As we mentioned, they're in the Big 12. Number 7, as we mentioned, is Stanford. They are in the Pac. I believe they're in the Pac-10. Might be in the Pac-12. I'm not that knowledgeable on my college football. But let's see. I know they're in a pack. I'm trying to find the pack. Okay, here we go. Here's the Pac-12. Yep, Stanford's in the Pac-12. Okay. What conference is Notre Dame in? Here's how much I know about college football, right? Let me look this up real quick. What conference is Notre Dame in? Let's see. There it looks like okay. And now let's see. We ran through that. I told you guys about the big games. Now, really quick, I'm going to go over the rankings. Here they are. And in my opinion, let's see. You have. Okay, this is where I have a problem with the rankings, in my opinion. It's where I have a problem with them. 1 through about, let's see, 1 through 9, I don't have a problem with. You have Alabama at 1, Georgia at 2, Clemson at 3, OSU at 4, LSU 5, 6 Oklahoma, 7 Stanford, 8 Notre Dame, 9 Penn State. Those are like the 9 best teams in college football. Obviously, no. But this is what I'm thinking if I'm somebody ranking. I see, so a 3-0 team is worse than a 3-1 team, and a 4-0 team like Kentucky is worse than a 3-1 team. So Kentucky's at 17. They're worse than Washington. They're 4-0. Washington's 3-1. That's my problem. See, if I was doing the rankings, this is how I would have them. 1 through 9 stays the same. Kentucky, because they're 4-0, they go to number 10. 11 is Duke. They are 4-0. Duke would move from 22 to 11 in my rankings. Then at 12, you would start with the 3-1 team. So 12 would be Auburn. 13 would be West Virginia. 14 would be Michigan. They'd stay in the same spot. Wisconsin would stay in the same spot at 3-1. Miami of Florida would stay in the same spot at 16. 17 would be West Virginia because they're 3-0. 18 would be UCF because they're 3-0. 19 would be Texas. 20 Oregon. 21 BYU. And 23 MS State. 24 California. 25 Michigan State. This is the way I'd rank them. It's just the way I'd rank them, guys. I'd rank them by record. I don't rank them by prestige of conference. It's like, in basketball or in hockey. You have, for instance, I don't know, a team at some point like, let's say the Cavs and Pistons are tied for the division lead, but the Pistons are the 8th seed because they're 43-29, and the Cavs are 46 and something, but they're out of the playoffs because of a divisional record or something. Like that, I'm trying to give an analogy. I don't understand it, but that's just the way I feel about the college football rankings. I've covered the first hour here. We will be back in the next hour talking Browns and talking more NFL news. I'll see you guys at the top of the hour. Peace out. La 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 la. Brandon's World. Do do do. La 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 la. Brandon's World. Do do do. Brandon has a world championship. A Super Bowl ring. Do 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 do. That's Brandon's World. Do 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 do. Welcome back to hour number 2. The Browns, ladies and gentlemen. The Browns won a game. Congratulations. But life should not be all happy at First Energy Stadium, like I said at the top of the show today. Reason being because Hugh Jackson, as I also said at the top of the show today, should have been fired at halftime of this game. If Tyrod Taylor was playing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, Hugh Jackson does not have a job on Friday. Saying that hands down. The Browns got outcoached by the Jets. They were outplayed by the Jets until Baker Mayfield came in. And that spark lit. Now, I get it. I get it. A quarterback can make all the difference in the world for a football team. I do. I get it. I actually get it. I know you guys don't think I get it, but I do get it. The problem is Baker Mayfield that good to save the franchise? That if he goes down, the team is so bad. It could be like the Packers with Aaron Rodgers. That if Baker goes down, the team is so bad, the coach needs to be fired. Mike McCarthy is not a very good head coach. I've never said that before. I'm saying it right here, right now. We've seen it last year with Aaron Rodgers. Mike McCarthy is not a very good head coach. However, he gets away with it because Aaron Rodgers is his quarterback. Now, here's the deal. Hugh Jackson, we already know, is not a good coach. Hugh Jackson cost the Browns so many games the last 2 years. Cost them 2 games this season. And Baker Mayfield saved his behind. Now, I'm rooting for Baker Mayfield because I think Baker Mayfield is one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time out there. But the Browns need to fire Hugh. They absolutely need to, guys. They absolutely need to, because if they don't, they are going to lose more games than they win, and it's going to set back Baker Mayfield's development. I'm concerned that with a week of under Hugh Jackson, because we've seen this the last couple of years, when a quarterback comes in off the bench, they play really well for the Browns, then Hugh Jackson gets a hold of them, and, well, that's the end of that quarterback. A la Cody Kessler, a la Kevin Hogan, a lot of stuff. Apologize for my phone dinging, even though it's on silent. I don't get it. I hate technology. Apologies. The Browns need to fire Hugh Jackson. Is all I'm going to say. It's ridiculous. Baker Mayfield won in the game. They look really good with Baker. And as I said before, Jarvis Landry, they need to find somebody else to play the X position. Maybe it's Callaway. Maybe it's Higgins. Or what I would do is in the free agency or at the trade deadline, call. Ask what you would get for Antonio Brown. I would give up, now that we know we have our quarterback, I'd give up a first and a third for AB. And see what Pittsburgh would say. First and a third, and if they ask for a player, it depends on what player, but first and a third for Antonio Brown. Because AB can do everything. AB is a once in a lifetime special player that's really short that can play the X. Or you could call Cincinnati about AJ Green. I doubt it because they're in the same division. You could call Atlanta about Julio Jones. Heck, that's what I would do. I'd give up a first and a third for Julio. I mean, you could call San Francisco and even ask about Pierre Garcon. He'd be a better number one than what the Browns have right now. I'm just looking for another weapon that I would call and ask to trade for because free agency isn't going to fix it. It's not like the Eagles that have a lot of injuries and they already have a number one, and Alshon Jeffrey, he's just not out there. The Browns don't have a number one. And there's no guy in the free agency market. Des Bryant's not a number one. Des Bryant's not even a number 4. He can't catch the ball. The Browns have a decent number 3 in Landry, the slot guy. They have Callaway and Higgins, who Callaway's a burner, but he's not really that go-to X receiver. Higgins could be, but he's not just there yet. He's more of the possession receiver along with Landry. You need that guy that when it's fourth down, a guy that necessarily doesn't have the greatest speed. Again, a guy like a Julio Jones and Odell Beckham and Mike Evans, Alshon Jeffrey and AB that can just go up and get the football. Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield put that ball in the best spot Landry could get it, but I'm not going to trust Jarvis Landry on a 4th and 10 to play on the outside against one of the best corners in the league and to go up and get a football. I'm not trusting Higgins, and I'm not trusting that Callaway can blow by a guy. That was just bad coverage by the Saints. I'm sorry, I'm just not. The Browns need an X receiver, and once they get that, they already have 2 good tight ends. They have 3 that keep Fells around, but they have DeVal. But when he gets healthy, he's really good, along with Njoku. They have Mayfield. They have the plethora of backs that can get the job done with the change of pace back in Duke Johnson, with the rookie in Chubb, and then obviously with Hyde. They have the quarterback now, and the Browns receiving corps average. It could be above average with a big free agent named Sonny. Even Allen Robinson would do justice if you got him from Chicago. A guy like that. Not a guy like Allen Hurns. I'm talking about a guy that's been a number 1 before. Landry's been a number 1 before where they've thrown him the ball short all the time. He's never done what I'm talking about, going up and getting the football. I'm talking about a guy that can be a number 1 like a Michael Thomas that can go up and get the football when you need him to. That's what I'm talking about. The offensive line, they need to get a left tackle in the draft. It is a must. Left guard, Bretonio's okay. The center, they probably need a replacement for Treader eventually. They have their right guards. They have their 2 guards. But their tackle and their center, in my opinion, need to be worked on. It needs to be worked on in the draft and free agency. If you get that right, if you go out and you fix the offensive line and you get the best wide receiver on the team to go along with Landry, because Josh Gordon was supposed to be that guy, but now they don't have him. They need to go out and get another one. If you can find those pieces, the Browns will be really good because their defense is set. Yeah, they need to fix some depth in positions, like probably a little bit better depth at the safety spot in the secondary because I don't love Peppers. You can add another corner always. With Kendricks gone, you might add another linebacker. You might add one more defensive lineman. But the Browns' defense is pretty set. It's the offense that needs a little more fixing. The keys are there, and they're starting to drive the car. They're not fully in gear yet. But, man, once they're fully in gear, this will be one hell of a turnaround. But they don't start till the Browns fire Hugh Jackson. The worst head coach in NFL history, that Baker Mayfield looked like a good coach. Just like Aaron Rodgers makes Mike McCarthy a good coach. Let's move on to the MLB standings here. We do this every single week here on the show. We're going to move on. This is the final week we're going to be doing this. Not the final time because we'll do it Wednesday and BSR. But here we go. Yeah, Boston. They have clinched the division at 105-51. Now, there are 7 games left in the MLB season. Houston is sitting at 98 wins. Boston sitting at 105. Boston needs 1 win to clinch home field advantage throughout. It's basically what I'm telling you. A winner, a Houston loss, so they'll get a home field throughout the postseason. Yankees will get the wild card game at 95-60. They'll take on the A's. Tampa Bay's not out of it yet. They're let's see, 9.5 to 17.5. They're 8 games out of it. So they need pretty much a miracle. They need to win all of them, and they need, let's see, yeah, they need to win all of them, and they need the Yankees to lose all of them. And if that happens, the Rays make the playoffs. If the Rays aren't making the playoffs, they'll get to 90 wins. They won't even make the playoffs. Indians may not even get to 90 wins, and they'll make the playoffs. Just shows how weird the MLB is this season. And obviously, Toronto and Baltimore are out of it. In the AL Central, we already know Twins. The fact that we already know Twins, Tigers, White Sox, and Royals are out of it. The fact that the Tigers are the third best team in the Central with 93 losses shows how bad the Central is. Indians 87 and 68. They're 49 and 32 at home. They're 30 and 36 on the road. They have 100% clinch, as we know. Oakland is about to clinch. It's down to Oakland and Tampa Bay for the other wild card spot. Seattle is now out of it. The Angels are out of it. The Angels have had a little bit of a disappointing season. That's had to do with injuries. And obviously, the Rangers have been out of it. The Rangers fired their manager, by the way. But Oakland's 94 and 62. The Yankees are 95 and 60. Which means they are a game and a half back of the Yankees to host that wild card game. And whoever hosts that wild card game, that's going to be pivotal. We're going to take a look at the MLB postseason schedule in a second as well. But yeah, the Indians are going to take on the Astros. We already know that. We know that the Red Sox will take on either the Yankees, A's, or Rays in the ALDS. We know it's either going to be pretty much the Yankees or A's. Yankees have to lose all of them in order for the Rays to get in, and that game would be in Oakland. So the A's have a good chance to make it. They just need to hope that they get that home field advantage and they can beat the Yankees. But if it's in New York, I'll take the Yankees. In the NL, we have the Braves wrapping up the NL East. I was shocked by how fast they did this. The Phillies have lost 4 in a row. The Braves have won 5 in a row. Braves have 88 wins. They're still 3 games back of the Cubs, though, who are 91 and 64. They have a 99% chance to make the playoffs. So does Milwaukee. They are 2.5 back, so this division is not wrapped up yet, but it's probably going to be wrapped up soon once the Cubs collapse. The Dodgers right now would be the 3 seed in the NL West. They have won 2 in a row. The Rockies have won 3 in a row. They have 85 wins. However, the problem is Milwaukee and St. Louis have 87 and 89 wins. So the winner of the NL West is going to make the playoffs. I'm not sure the wild card team is going to be in the NL West. I think it's going to be 2 NL Central teams, which means by default, therefore, unfortunately, the Dodgers may not make the playoffs, shockingly to fans. And shockingly to me, because I picked them to face the Indians in the World Series. I picked the Indians to go 90 and 72 and to get the 2 seed. I thought Houston would get the 1. I thought Boston would be, or excuse me, I thought the Yankees would be the 3. I thought Boston would be in the wild card. But yeah, I mean, I thought, I didn't think the Braves would win the NL East. I thought the Nationals would still be up top. I thought the Phillies and Mets would be competing. I thought the Braves would be in 4th place. The Braves would come out of nowhere. People kept telling me they had talent. I didn't believe it. Cardinals look dead in the water. Now here they come. They're pretty much a wild card contention. Pittsburgh's dead. They're at 78 and 76. They're above 500 and they're out of it. So the NL is a little more competitive than what you would think, but they're still not as competitive as the AL. Arizona has dropped 3 in a row. They've just fallen out of it at 79 and 77. And it's a shock at how well Colorado is playing right now, in my opinion. They only have a 1-run differential. And they're, 1 back of the division. Take a look at run differential, by the way. I think it's telling the Dodgers have 173 run differential. The Astros have 259, which is a huge number. Indians at 156. Boston at 216. So the Astros are the highest by far. Then Boston. And then I believe it's the Indians. No, it's the Dodgers and then the Indians. So the Indians last year, remember how much they were blowing people out of their 22-game win streak? This is realistic expectations for the Indians. And it's where they should be. But as I said, they're set up for the playoffs. So Wild card, you look at that. The Yankees are up 1.5 games on Oakland. Tampa Bay is 6.5 outs. They need to pretty much win every single game to have a chance at this. But it's coming down to the Yankees and A's and a home field advantage. National League, you have the Brewers, the Cardinals, and the Rockies are 1.5 back. So the Rockies are rooting hard for who's ever playing the Cardinals. Pretty much, and the rest are dead and out of it. So we pretty much know where we're going at from here. We know the Cubs will be the 1 seed. We know that the Red Sox will be the 1 seed. We know that the Indians will take on the Astros. We know the Braves will take on either the Dodgers or the Rockies. And then we know the wild card game will pretty much be Yankees. Unless something changed, and then Milwaukee will take on either St. Louis or the loser of that division between the Rockies and Dodgers, and it's looking like St. Louis. Really quick, let's take a look at the MLB postseason schedule. I'm going to pull it up real quick that we can discuss it. There we go. MLB postseason schedule. Let's see here. They announced it. Where's that photo? Here we go. The 2018 postseason schedule. Here we go. Pull it up here. Oh, there's the playoff picture. We don't want that. We want the next one. I apologize. Okay, here we go. This is what we want. So we want to click on, okay, here we go. It's all loading up. So, Tuesday, October 2nd will be the NL wildcard game. Wednesday, October 3rd will be the AL wildcard game, which means then for the NL, because we're going to start with the NL, because look, October 5th on Thursday, they'll have game 1, game A and game B. October 5th then will be game A and game B. Sunday, October 7th will be game A and game B. Monday will again be game A and game B. And then Wednesday, October 10th would be game 5, game A and game B. For the American League, they'll have Friday, October 5th, and for the NL, every game is on FS1 or MLB Network. For the AL, every game is on TBS. October 5th and 6th, they'll have game 1 and game 2. Monday, October 8th will be game 3. If necessary, will be game 4 on that Tuesday, and then Thursday, October 11th, would be game 5. Now, for the NLCS, for the National League, Friday, October 12th and Saturday, October 13th will be game 1 and game 2. Game 3 and 4 will be Monday and Tuesday. And then game 5 will be a Wednesday. Game 6 will be a Friday. Game 7 will be a Saturday. So it will not interfere with any football coverage, which normally there is. Normally there's a game on both days on Fox. There is not this year for the CS. For the AL, it will go Saturday and Sunday, game 1 and game 2. October 14th. So you figure in the NFL, that would be week 7. Which Eagles and Browns, we both play at 1 o'clock, which is good for us. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then will be game 3, game 4, and game 5. Game 6 will be Saturday, and then game 7 would be a Sunday. That will be on TBS. And then for the World Series, obviously game 1 will be Tuesday, October 23rd. Wednesday will be game 2. Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be game 3 and 4. 5, Game 6, and Game 7 would take place on Halloween. With that being said, let's move on to the NFL. I just want to recap really quick. Weeks 1 through 3. The most surprising week 1 through 3 games I've ever seen. Through, what are we, through 47 games of predicting games and 21 and 26. That means on average, every week, I've gone 7 and 9. Week 1, I went 9 and 7. Week 2, I went 6 and 10. If Pittsburgh wins tonight, I'll go 6 and 10 again because I picked Tampa Bay. I mean, it's a shock. It's a shock. Basically, if I go 6 and 10 twice, and then I go 9 and 7 the one time, that makes up for both of my predictions of being 7 and 9, which means I'll be right where I started, that 21-27. That would be going 7 and 9 every single week. It's been crazy. Normally I'm above 500 on picks, and I haven't been this year. I've been really struggling on picks. There's been a lot of upsets, especially these last 2 weeks. Not as much week 1, but definitely the last 2 weeks. A lot of upsets, and it's just freaking crazy. Just crazy, man. The amount of upsets. You can never predict a game in the NFL. And I know my good buddy Luke Silver responded to me about the Patriots. I wasn't referring about the Patriots. Yes, I was referring about the Bills. Every game in the NFL, that are either close to being upsets or that are upsets already. It's just freaking crazy. I've never seen this many upsets in weeks 1 through 3. I feel like I've never seen this many surprises where I'm scratching my head and I'm picking with my brain, not my heart. And I'm just scratching my head going, did they really do that? I think the Browns set the tone in week 1 with the tie, and then the Vikings and Packers did it last week. And this new, this new rule or whatever with the roughing the passer, the modified rule, it's crazy. The NFL this year seems like it's getting better. The ratings have been down the last couple of years, but I think the NFL is hitting a bright spot, and I'm glad for it. It's just crazy. The injuries are starting to pop up. Atlanta has a lot of injuries. You got, Jimmy G going down now for San Francisco, the first big quarterback injury of the year. Fantasy-wise, I would definitely like to pick up Baker Mayfield if Jimmy G's down on your team. Fantasy-wise, I've also had a lot of surprises. Guys that you would think have gone off big have not, and the guys that you have benched are the ones that are going off big. It's just been crazy. It's been an unorthodox year so far. Teams that are winning should be winning though. Teams that look good normally are looking good, and teams that don't look good, it's just the fact that they're competing and that most of these games are not blowouts. I mean, ever since the Ravens-Bills game in week 1, I cannot remember a game that was an actual blowout. If you want to count the Lions-Patriots game a blowout last night, it really wasn't. It was close to the end. I just see a lot of these close games that are coming down to the wire, and that teams are still winning in the fourth quarter, and that's good to see. It looks like competition is up. So we'll be back at 12:30 right here on Brand's World, talking Flash and WWE. Alright, guys, we're on the final segment today here on BROWNS. We're really talking about the Kent State Golden Flashes here really quickly. They've lost 38-17 to Ole Miss. Woody Barrett looked pretty good, though. 24-42, 224, no touchdowns and 1 pick. Justin Wrangler, 15 carries for 64 yards. Woody Barrett had 19 carries for 53 yards. So the rushing game was okay. It wasn't great. And for Ole Miss, Jordan Tamu, 28 of 38 for 442, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Scotty Phillips, 19 carries under 12 yards. They just dominated the ball against Kent. DJ McClav, a receiver, 5 catches for 102 and a touch. A.J. Brown, 7 for 96. And DeMarcus Lodge, 6 for 81, along with Dawson Knox, who caught 2 balls for 79. And as I mentioned, Scotty Phillips already out of the backfield, 2 for 44. Elijah Moore, 4 for 30. They just spread the ball around a lot. And Kent State's 1-3. They take on Ball State next. Ole Miss is 3-1. This game was close. It was 7-7 at the half, and then Kent State only scored 10 in the second half, while Ole Miss put up 31. And that's what happens when you don't play in the second half. When the defense struggles, you lose games in the second half. So there you go with that. Let's talk some wrestling really quick. WWE Raws tonight. Very excited for it. Very excited for Super Showdown. Triple H taking on The Undertaker. Should be a great show. Should be everything great. So I hope you guys just enjoy that. I'll be enjoying it, and I'll review wrestling more on BSR on Wednesday when we do our Raw and SmackDown review. So with that, make sure you leave a like, comment right down below. This is Brandon's World today on 9/24/2018, not 17. And see you guys Wednesday, 10 noon on BSR. Peace out.